so excited you decided to join RE/MAX Results. It's a great brand and company. Partnering with you in your career to take it to the next level and leverage some of the tools and resources we have is exciting for us. And so we're glad you're here and looking forward to watching you in your journey moving forward.
That's right. And it's a thrill to be here, Todd. It really is. I've been in the real estate business for 9 years and really, really excited to be part of the RE/MAX team.
Great. We're glad you're here and excited to see all that you accomplished.
Yeah, that's right.
So Andy, why did you choose a career in real estate?
Oh, great question. So I actually got my start in the real estate business on the auction side of the business. Grew up in the auction world, selling horses, and we actually sold whitetail deer for a little while.
Really?
Traveled the country with a great friend of mine that got me started in the auction business. And so the long story short is my wife and I owned a flower shop at the time. And when our third daughter was born, we decided to sell this flower shop. And then so I got into the real estate business thinking this is just going to be, something to pass the time until I figure out really what I want to do.
Yeah.
And figured out that I love the business. So that was in 2015 that I got my license in Indiana. And then I also have my license in Ohio as well. And I got that license in 2019.
That's great.
Yeah.
So from flowers to deer.
That's right.
What a diverse background.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what kind of unique skills and experiences do you think you bring to the table for all your real estate clients?
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of a unique background or some unique experiences that I think really helped me in the real estate business. First of all, with that auction background, I still maintain my auctioneer's license. We do a lot of benefit auctions. Yep. And so, there are times when a certain property is going to be better suited to sell using the auction method of marketing than a traditional, way of marketing that land or property. And so I bring that to the table. Another part of my history is my family owns a pretty large construction company in the area here too. And so as little as 9 years old, I was out sweeping out the warehouse and cleaning the driveway.
Yeah.
And so grew up with that construction background. And so I love the new construction part of our business as well. The other thing that I always like to mention, and I think, brings something to the table is I'm a pastor as well. And for about the past 15 years or so, we've had a pretty large international ministry that we're a part of. And so it's exposed me to different cultures, different people groups. And actually here in our region, we've got several different cultures that are represented here, whether it's Africa or Southern Asia. We've got quite a diverse city and region here. And one of the things that's taught me, Todd, is that people do want to be cared for. People want to be loved. And I think if you can combine a genuine and authentic caring for people plus bring the professionalism to facilitate somebody through a real estate transaction, I think you can bring a lot of value to the table to those clients.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So how do you think aligning with RE/MAX has put you in a position to better support your clients and your business?
Man, RE/MAX has so much to offer, especially to the agents, but also in turn what we offer now to our clients. Yeah. Probably the biggest thing that makes a difference in my day-to-day business is the level of technology that RE/MAX offers to me as an agent. With the introduction of automation into some of our processes and research that we have to do. As a matter of fact, just this morning on my desk was a full 4-page report of what's happening in the market, and that's an incredible resource for us to be able to use out there every day. Another thing that I really like about RE/MAX is its international connections. I mentioned we've got connections around the world, and so being able to give a professional connection to somebody who wants to purchase land in Africa or sell a house in Pakistan. We've got friends there that we're in communication with on a regular basis. And so RE/MAX allows me to facilitate those relationships professionally as well.
And in turn, it allows you just to be a resource for all of your clients,
everybody,
wherever they are.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Not only those, but I think the other thing that I really like about what RE/MAX has to offer is the camaraderie amongst some of the region's top producing agents. Just the other day, I was here at a meeting in the office with agents that were discussing, some unique and creative financing opportunities that not every office has those types of relationships or has some of that privy. Because many of the region's top producing agents call RE/MAX home, we have that camaraderie amongst each other,
Yes.
that we can better serve our clients
Yes.
in ways that we might not be able to other ways.
Yeah, it's amazing when you have a culture of abundance and people share and collaborate. We all make each other better, and in turn, our clients win.
There's a saying that says a rising tide raises all the ships.
Yes.
And when we get better, everybody gets better. And that's one of the things that I really value about you personally, is that's who you are. That's your mindset. You're there to make the entire industry, the entire region better, and it really helps everybody in turn.
Thanks. Well, you're going to be a big part of that.
I'm excited about it.
So, Andy, what areas of real estate are you most passionate about?
So the easy answer to that is everything. And I truly do love everything about the business, especially that first time home buyer, the young family, maybe with 1 or 2 children that's coming out of the apartment into their own place, to be able to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, your offer was accepted, you're going to get a house, is a pretty incredible feeling. And then to be able to facilitate the rest of that transaction with them, to the point where they're in their own house, making memories in the backyard, running around with the puppy. I love that part of the business. But I also love marketing homes that are for sale as well. Some of those opportunities can create some unique challenges, and they've got to get creative or get innovative with some of the marketing tools that we use to be able to put on that creativity and execute an effective strategic marketing plan.
Yeah, and find the right buyer.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I love the challenge of that. I love marketing in general. I love advertising. And so that side of the business is really exciting to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Another area that I really get excited about is new construction.
Yes.
And to be able to see something go from bare ground to a beautiful brand new home that somebody's been dreaming about for years is really exciting to me as well.
Yes.
And that starts in that initial phone call of, what does financing look like? And then where are we going to build? Do we want to be in a subdivision, on a lot, or out in the country somewhere where you can put up that pole barn? Selecting the builder, walking through that entire process as well is really, really exciting to me.
Well, that process isn't over in a week or two, right? That process takes several months.
That's exactly right. And that's another exciting part about it is, first of all, it gives me an opportunity to spend more time with my clients. I get to know them a little bit better. But that can also create its own unique challenges throughout the year. We're going to go on vacations. We're going to do this. And, they may not always have the opportunity to go and check out their job site on a regular basis. One of the services that I provide to those clients that are building is I'm going to be on their job site on a regular basis, providing them pictures, updates. I'll go out with my floor plans and just to be sure that things are moving along on pace and as expected.
That's great.
Yeah.
Andy, you mentioned earlier that you do some work for some different lending institutions as far as checking in and monitoring the progress on new construction. Do you want to share with me a little bit about what that means and what you do for clients and for the banks in this situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a bank, of course, as they finance or provide the funding for a new build project, they want to have an independent set of eyes that's on that project, just to be sure that things are moving along. And as they release more funds into the project, they want to be able to have those reports showing the progress. And so many banks will hire me throughout the week to go out and check out some of those new construction sites. And I enjoy doing it, not only because I'm providing that service to the banks and to the builders, but it also gives me an opportunity to see what different builders are doing differently than the others.
Yes.
I can tell you who has messy job sites. I can tell you, which subcontractors are working for which builders. So it gives me a little bit of a competitive edge as well. And it allows me to provide a better service to my buyers because I am on a construction site almost every day of the week.
Sure. And I'm sure you can see the different qualities of construction. After a home's built and completed, there's a lot of things that have a lot to do with the quality of construction that's inside that home, and you get a chance to see all that all the time.
I'm here to tell you. So not only do we see that end of it, but that also leads us into the idea of a lot of people that are building a home have a question: well, do I need to have an independent inspection? We're establishing that you want to have your own representative. You want to have a broker that's representing you, but then that also brings up the question: do I want to have an independent inspection? We had a situation, a friend of mine, another realtor, had a situation not too long ago where during the COVID pandemic, when everybody was short on laborers, there were certain construction companies that were bringing in roofers from another state who just so happened to have different standards and different criteria from one state to the next. And so, rightly so, they built the roof based on what they knew from the state that they worked in. However, their standards were lower than the state that they were hired to work in. So most of the time, unless you're on that job site every day, unless you know what to look for, that's something that's going to be easily overlooked. You look, there's a roof there, there's shingles, it looks great.
Right.
But some of those fine details, both your broker and that independent inspector is going to be able to pick up on some of those things. And so it's really important when you're spending that type of money, when you're investing that much time, have people in your corner that are there to advocate for you and only you during that process.
That's great.
Yeah.
So Andy, you keep bringing up and mentioning new construction. So tell me a little bit about why people would want to hire a broker to advocate and work for them when they're building a new home and not necessarily going out and buying an existing home.
Such a good question, and it's something that comes up a lot. How is a realtor going to help me, build my brand new house?
Right.
Well, the difference is, if you want to have a realtor that specializes in new construction. And so that starts with the initial, walking through the process. There's a lot of people that are involved. There's a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of deadlines. There's a whole lot going on throughout that process of building a home, that to have somebody that's been through that process several times can really be an asset when you're starting that process. So it starts with financing. We've got a lot of great financing institutions in our area that provide different services. And so, even sometimes down to where you work, one lender may be a better choice over the other.
Sure.
And so having some of those conversations up front with somebody who knows what they're talking about, somebody who's been through the process, can be helpful for you. Then we get into site selection. Do we want to build in a established subdivision? Do you want to build out in the country somewhere where you can throw up that pole barn and keep the equipment out there? Somebody being able to navigate those aspects of it can be really helpful too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't know that based on where you buy, there are limitations and restrictions, whether you're in a neighborhood or you buy some land out of town, you can build and put different things on those properties, right?
That's exactly right. One of the biggest example that we see with that is, can I put up a fence in my backyard?
Yes.
Well, sometimes it's not only restrictions based on the subdivision, but even on the individual lot itself. Some subdivisions will tell you if this lot backs up to a pond, you're not allowed to put up your fence. However, if you build on the same street, just on the other side of the street where it doesn't have a pond, you can put up the biggest fence that you want. And so that's a great point as well. And it's good to know some of those things going up front. That way, when we're in that site selection part of the process, we can know where to look, where to avoid,
Sure.
and we can really hone in on specifically what you're looking for.
Great.
Yeah. So, in addition to that, not only does it start with, walking through the process, but even somebody who's going to represent your best interest as the buyer. As we've said, we've got some incredible builders, but as with any businessman, you've got to look out for yourself. And so your contracts are going to be written to look out for yourself. Having somebody who can advocate for you, even under that contract, having somebody that can look out for your best interest. And when something might look just a little bit off, or we just want to clarify, is this complete, or are you still having somebody come out to finish this process? Having somebody to look out for your best interest and know what to look for can really be a big part of that puzzle as well. Probably another big thing to go into it is that having a broker, a new build specialist representing you is a second set of eyes on your project, and it's another layer of communication. And communication is huge in our business. It's everything. With any type of relationship, communication is important. But especially when you're spending, several $100,000, you want to have somebody there that has a relationship with you, and you know that they've got your best interests in mind. So it's another layer of communication and another set of eyes on your project. For my clients that are building, I'm on their job site on a regular basis with plans in hand to be sure that things are on track and as expected.
I would think for a lot of home buyers or people who are building a home, even have someone that can help them communicate with the builder.
Yes.
That may be something they're uncomfortable doing, to have difficult conversations or to make changes, to have an advocate in their corner would just be really valuable.
As true in so many industries, the construction industry has its own vernacular. They have their own language that they use. And sometimes even, knowing how to translate some of that lingo into, common everyday language can be a real asset.
Sure. So what trends or changes are you seeing in the real estate industry right now?
Man, right now, probably the biggest thing is interest rates and affordability. Especially for the first-time home buyers, when we start to see interest rates creeping up a little bit higher, it can put some pause in that process. Really, when we look historically, the rates that we're seeing today are pretty well in line with where they have been. But when we remember having seen 2% and 3% interest rates, what we're seeing today feels like a pretty big jump. And so definitely interest rates and housing affordability. And so that's a nice thing about having relationships within our industry, is that we have the ability to stay abreast with a lot of our leading lenders in the area to know what's available as far as down payment assistance, what's available as far as, even income-based lending. There's different options that are out there that might not always follow the grain of the traditional lending methods. For example, Todd, earlier this year, had a young couple, first-time home buyers, and as buyers, we were actually able to get a check back to them at the closing table. Something a lot of times the seller walks away with a check, but because we were able to navigate some of those opportunities that are there, my buyers were able to walk away with a check.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You were the hero of that.
That's right. Yeah, so although interest rates may be high, home prices are higher than what we've seen over the past couple of years, there are opportunities, and it just starts with a simple phone call.
Excellent. So Andy, you made a big change by switching brokerages. How has that change affected your goals and your vision for the future and impacted your ability to accomplish those goals moving forward?
Yeah, so you're right. It is a big change, and I'm thoroughly enjoying being part of the RE/MAX family. To me, Todd, I think that our industry is all about professionalism. And especially as we are entering into a little bit of a different market right now with, like we talked about, some of those higher interest rates, some of the affordability challenges that some buyers are facing right now, it's all the more clear that buyers especially need a professional in their corner. And so I think, asking about my goals, I think part of my goals circle around being as professional and as resourced as I possibly can to best service my clients, whether that's through availability, whether that's through having the resources and the connections within our industry to best serve my clients, or just simply having access to some of the technology that RE/MAX makes available to us. It's all about that professionalism and providing exactly what our clients need to help them accomplish their goals.
That's fantastic. Well, RE/MAX is lucky to have you.
I'm certainly happy to be here. I really am.
So describe to me the ideal client who would really most benefit from your level of service and expertise that you provide your clients.
Yeah. So again, the easy answer is anybody who wants to buy or sell a house. And truly so. If anybody's interested in purchasing or selling, I believe that I would be a great option or somebody to consider to help them throughout that process, especially if you're considering new construction. I think I bring a lot to the table to help buyers who are interested in purchasing a new construction home, or those families who are in a probate or in an estate situation where they need a professional, need an advocate in their corner. Basically, if you're considering a real estate transaction and you would value a professional who's available, who's resourced and connected within our region and within our industry, I would love to have a chat and pursue that opportunity with them.
That's great. Well, if I can say this myself, finding somebody that you can trust as who will advocate for you and has all of this experience and professionalism is rare, and your clients are going to be lucky to have you advocate for them.
Well, that means a lot. It's all about relationships, and the more that we can establish those relationships and establish, like you said, trust, that's everything for sure.
Great.
Yeah.
So, Andy, I've known you for a few months, and you shared some amazing stories with me about places you've been.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about some places that you've been that most people have not been?
I would love to. So we are passionate about international travel and especially international ministry. We have my wife and I, over the past 15 years or so, been able to build some pretty deep connections with local pastors who are, passionate about their communities, and the people that they're serving, but don't have the resources and don't have the connections that many of our American pastors might have. And so we've had opportunities to travel throughout Africa to Kenya and Ethiopia and Malawi. We've got some dear friends in Pakistan that we're working with on a regular basis. And a lot of cool opportunities. Actually, kind of a neat story. My wife and I lived in Kenya for a year, and our oldest daughter took her first steps on Kenyan soil.
Wow.
So all of our daughters have Swahili middle names, and when we came back to the States, our oldest could speak Swahili better than she could English.
Wow.
Yeah, Africa and international travel, international ministry really holds a dear place in our hearts.
Well, that's really special and a unique experience
Yeah.
about your spirit and goodwill to help others, and that translates right over to your real estate career as well.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Appreciate it, Todd.
Yeah.